everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Big Bear and this is the continuous video of the series like from 0 to 0, and I'm just gonna keep showing you like more and more techniques that I know how to work with cheat engine. Alright, so I hope that you watched the video that I upload before this one, that kind of like introducing about like the table that I create for this game right here, and also kind of like you wanna get information how to get the games and how to install the server. Basically it's made by another one and you just follow that YouTube video. But anyway, the goal for this video is showing you how to deal with fixed value. So sometimes you might encounter games that, like, well, let's say a lot of time when you're working with the engine, you're gonna go in with this sequence. You wanna start with a kind of like a beginning value, you changing that value, and then you do another search, and then you change value again to do another search until like the address you found on engine gonna go down to like 1 or 3, and then you're gonna try to see which one is the real one. Right, now there will be time when you will encounter the value that is fixed. So basically, like, even if you try to change the thing that you see in the screen, nothing has changed. Like this game right here, the way the skill of this game work is like every skill have like 10 level, and each of the level is basically a new skill. Right, so when you, for example, right here, water tornado level 1, when I level up to level 2, instead of kind of changing the skill from level 1 to level 2, the game's gonna like replacing water tornado level 1 with water tornado level 2. In another word, like if for whatever reason I can put a different skill in water tornado level 2, then like when I level up water tornado from level 1 to 2, I will get that new skill. Right. And the problem with that is that once you change something like that, when you try to like edit in the attack power for this skill, you're looking for the attack power and it's not going anywhere, because like the game can access a different part of the memory to get that information, and therefore, like, again, you cannot just keep changing the value and do like next scan stuff like that. Okay, so to work with value like that, the only thing we can do is basically like looking at the data. What the cheat engine have is like array by scan, or we can just look at like a list of data, and hopefully that we can find like the array of data that's gonna be unique. So there will be time you might not be able to find anything because the way of they scramble the data. But there's a lot of games like this game right here that they have usually to these data gonna be listed in the same region of the memory of the game data, and therefore you can just look for it. All right, so we're gonna get started here. Let's say I have my attack power here at 30 to 56, so I'm gonna do a search over here that 30, let's say 30 is what we see on the screen. Eventually the game starts at hex. We need to convert the decimal to hex. That means 1e, right? And because this game start data in like every 4 bytes, so anything that like after that gonna be 0. So we're gonna put like this, and this is the first array of byte we have for the minimum attack power. So the maximum gonna be 56, right? So I'm gonna add 56 in here. I need to convert it from decimal to hex, and I have 38. All right, now the next level gonna be next to it too, so I'm gonna searching for that one too. Now I have attack power of 34, right? And we go to the hex, and now we have 22. Okay, and then we have 63 at the max damage, so I add 63 in here, and the hex turned to 3f, right? So I'm put 3f in here, and I know that follow is going to be followed by 0, so I do the first scan, and we see that one right here. So this is a static value, so no matter what you do, it whenever you turn the game, it's gonna be staying the same. and it also at a static address when it's green like this, which means like you don't really have to search for it next time after you save the table. As you can see, some of the value I found out here. But anyway, assuming that we didn't find this one, I'm gonna put it down here and I call it water tornado damage. Okay, now we can start changing this thing over here to whatever our liking. So let me try first. Okay, you're gonna see the damage text showing up on my screen, and I will maybe like enlarging it after I edit the video and I move it over here. Okay, so let's try hitting over there, and you can see right now my damage is 60, 60, 47, 47. So there's a for number, and this is how the server calculate our damage. The first number is the number that you initially have, and the 47 is the last number. 47 is after all the modification, defensive or anything like that, and anti-hack, anti-cheat stuff. Then that 47 is actually the number of damage the monster or like whatever unit is gonna take. Okay, so right now at the base damage I do like 47 damage. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my cheat engine on the server side over here, right click on that one, and we go to browse this memory region. Okay, it brings me to this region right here, where so this thing right, this is the damage for level 1, this is damage for level 2, damage for level 3, damage for level 4 of water tornado, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, this is where your damage is defined. All right, we're gonna put it in more user friendly. We're gonna display time, and we go to 4 by decimal, and you see that so we have 30 and 56, which is the first level right here, right? I'm gonna change this one to some big number, maybe 20,000, so that way we can see the difference right away. All right, now go back to the game, and you can see over here my number is still 30 to 56, but because this one right here is the client side is only like what's showing you, like what you can see. The actual value in here is what designing the damage and everything for us. All the calculation made on the server side. If you work with modern game again, like sometimes you see the mask and the actual value. So the mask value is what we see in the screen, and the actual value is what's going on. So when you find only the mask value, you can change to whatever, and then it's not affecting anything because it's just for show, right? So anyway, I'm gonna go try to find some monster, and remember that we do like barely 60 damage somewhere. Now with this one, you see that just one shot, and I do around like 4,700 damage over here. All right, but when you look over here, you're gonna be, oh, but you put in 20,000 in here. Why you only do like 4,000 damage? Because of the skill modification. So we're just changing the skill damage, base damage in here, but we do not changing how like the game calculate the damage. So this, for example, this is an AoE skill. So, and I think that some of the AoE skill in this game have a modifier that they only do kind of like a third or a fourth of what actual number showing on your screen. And also like after all the modification with the monster defensive and absorb and resistance stuff like that, we do way less damage. But at least remember we're doing like 47 damage, and now we do like 4,700 damage, so way higher damage, right? Just by changing the value here. And that is how you do you changing the skill value, and how you change some value that normally you cannot really changing it to refining your search. If you here for the skill editor, then that is how you find those skills in this game. And then now I'm going to show you how to make your own skill editor. All right, every change that we make in here, after you turn off the server, they're going to be reset. So they're going to go back to the whatever number they used to be, right? And that's gonna make our life a little bit harder, because you don't want to like searching for the value constantly every time you log back into the game. Let me change this to the normal value, right? So the good thing about this is that remember that when I searching for this one right here, we see a green address over here, which means like whenever you restart the game, right, that address will not change. It will still go into the same array of byte or like array of data here. Okay, but again, that for example, like you wanna make a patch for your game, you want to make an update for your game that kind of like balancing the skill. You see, oh, this skill is too weak, I'm gonna make, you know, like my skill stronger so that all the player that log into the game enjoy this class better, something like that, right? So we're gonna create a script that kind of whenever you activate it, it's gonna change to the value that you prefer. Okay, so we're gonna make a auto assemble right here, and we're gonna, with JIT engine we can use Lua to achieve that goal. Alright, and then we need enable and disable. Alright, then let's say I think, I don't know, then return, and I don't know, right, if we must do this all the time, but I see every single time when I see a Lua script, I see people put it at kind of the template. So just make it kind of like a way that you wanna do it. Anyway, so in here I'm gonna call some of the values. I'm gonna call water tornado damage equal to let's say this one right here. I'm gonna get address of this thing. Well, let's see if I can do it like this. Process plus. So my water tornado damage gonna have the address of this thing right here. Basically it's 00829A68 something over here, right? And then after that you're gonna define the data in here. You're gonna write sorry, technology issue. I was doing stuff and I noticed that my kind of like I ran out of hard drive, so I need to clear up some space before I can continue recording. Anyway, so we're gonna go back to where we left off. Right, so we're gonna make kind of like a manually making a skill editor. It might look a little bit confusing or complicated, but again, if you look at the code of like how they make this server, it's way more complicated. We just basically kind of like recreating that part. Instead of using C, I think it's C# or C++ something, we're gonna use Lua. Okay. Anyway, so first of all, I'm gonna call a global value called water tornado damage, and I'm gonna use get address to get that address over there. So remember when I get this one over here, right? Let me turn this on and let me break it down so you can see. It's gonna be like the process name, right, plus an offset. So I can use this thing right here, right? Process plus the offset, and that when I get the address of this array right here. All right. Next, we're gonna create. Remember that this one right here have this skill have two values for the damage, right? The minimum and the maximum. So I'm gonna call this thing right here water damage mean damage, so minimum damage. And another one going to be water max damage. All right, so we're going to create a table for this thing, right? I'm just going to do, let me see, I'm just going to do it like this. So instead of, so back to our number over here, we have 30 to 56 and 34 to 63, right? I'm going to change this to like 100 increment. So we're gonna start with level 1 gonna be 100, level 2 gonna be 200, level 3 300, 400, 500. We just keep going up like that. 700, 800, 900, and 1000. All right, For the max damage, I'm just gonna do a similar thing. I'm gonna do like 150, 250, 350, 450, 550, 650, 750, 850, 950, and 1050. Right. Now let's say when we create this one, and sometimes we want to change it to the after we changing thing and then thing not working like we want to reverse what we have, right? So now let's say the easiest way, just turn off the server and restart it. But let's say your server is running and then people are playing on that one and you don't want to just restart the server for something silly. So I'm just gonna copy the whole thing here. I'm just gonna call this on water minimum damage, right? Backup, and water maximum damage backup. All right. So in this array over here, we're gonna use this value from this thing here. I'm just gonna go through all of them. So there's gonna be, let's say, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, and then 9 and 10. Okay, I'm gonna copy this whole thing. Forgot where is it. I think, yeah, copy to clipboard here. All right, now go back to my thing over here and I'm gonna paste it in here. So we see the list of value here, right? And what I'm just gonna do is like refining this a little bit. So I pull all the max damage. Wait, 70. 77, and then why we have 7? I think I make around it increased by 7, so it's going to be 84, 91, 98, and 5, 112, and 119. Okay, I'm going to put all of them in this one right here. And for the minimum damage, it's just going to delete all of the maximum damage. Alright, make sure we have like 10 values. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good one right here. We'll come out to area of them. So this is gonna be like our backup value. So when you deactivate this script, it should return like our skill number to the original one. Okay, now we're gonna do, let's say when we look at this over here, the minimum damage right from level 1 to level 2, it going from 68 to 80. Basically the space in between them gonna be like 8 byte. Okay, so we're gonna define a space. I'm gonna call it water damage space equal to 8. Or you can do a hex 0, x8, which is the same thing anyway, right? And next we're gonna create a loop. So with this loop right here, instead of like writing the byte manually, right? We're gonna have a loop running through all of them and writing each single value for us. So I'm gonna call for I equal to 0. So we're gonna start at 0. To water minimum damage. You can use minimum or maximum damage because they have the same size anyway. We just go, you can just do like 0 to 9. So basically it's gonna run 10 times, right? So from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 9. That it's gonna loop through like 10 times. And then we do, okay. Now when you create you started something, you end it right away. So that's we expand things inside the function, right? We're not gonna do write integer, okay, and we're gonna write it at this address right here plus, okay, let's see, item water damage space, okay. then we're gonna have the writing this value what I mean damage I plus 1. Okay, so when I go step by step over here, what this line gonna do is that we're gonna write the integer. Okay, we're gonna put the value of water minimum damage I plus 1. So let's say when I equal to 0, we have like the first value here, which is 100, right? We're gonna write that 100 into this address right here, and that's basically the thing right here that you see on the screen. Okay, now when we increase I to 1, right, it's gonna do like I times water damage space. So 1 times 8, that means 8. Then we're gonna have the water meter damage address plus 8 gonna be written with 200. But basically from here we increase by 8, and the 34 gonna be replaced by 200. Okay, and we just keep going on that way. That is the minimum damage. Now we're gonna have the maximum damage. Okay, so right here I'm gonna put it like water maximum damage. Now there's a small change in here. Remember that the max damage is far by from the minimum damage. So we're gonna start with a for in here plus this one, and that's how you do it. Okay, so when I enable this script, like this whole thing down here gonna be changed to like 100, 200, 300. This one will be 150, 250, 350, something like that. Okay, and then after we're done with this one, remember we need to return the value to where it was when we disable the script. So we're gonna copy the whole thing here, right? We're gonna put them in the disable part, and over here instead of using like water minimum damage, we're gonna use the water minimum damage backup. Same thing here, maximum damage backup. Click OK, and you create a skill editor right here. I call it skill editor 2, as I created the one earlier here, and then yeah, my computer out of space, so well, whatever. And create this one. So let's say right now you see that this is the default value. Okay, when I activate this one, as you can see, they change to the value that we defined here. Okay, when I disable it, it returns to the default value. All right, now let's test if this thing really working. Okay, I'm gonna change this one to I'm gonna keep this one right here. Go back to my game. So this is default damage again. I wanna try to hit this guy, and I do like 40 damage. Right, you can see on my screen here. Then let's change this one to a very huge number. So again, that basically so we can see the change, and we're going to change the first level damage to 10,000 and 15,000. Click OK, changing this thing right here, and then let's hit the guy. Wait, there we go. Oh, this one is like a boss in here. So again, from 40 damage, now I do like 2300. Okay, so that's how you do it. You can do this for all the skill in game. Again, it's gonna take time for you to run through everything, but I mean, like, I hope I know some better way to do it. But again, the game itself, if you look at the code of that one, some source code was shared on Razor, you're gonna see it's very complicated. So I think this is very simple. And then if you can create something like this for every single skill, then you can make a patch for the game, like basically class balancing, editing your skill. Okay, so I will see you next time when we're gonna do something like more about the check in the game, so how to get super regen like the item I have over here without crashing the game. Okay, see you later.